Here we go. Are we on? Are we on? Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Two Girls, One Pod. I'm recording on Wurundjeri land. Angie's still on holidays, so each week I will be joined by a rotating list of bloody cool women to guest host on the show. And today, from Gadigal land, recording on the Gadigal land, is the effervescent, how good is that word, the most amazing, beautiful, just wonderful person that I adore to pieces. Tanya Hennessy, ever heard of her? Here she is.
Oh,
Go,
hello.
Say something.
Say something. Oh, my God, I'm so stoked to be here.
I'm so stoked to have you. Thank you for agreeing to get into our ear holes. Our listeners would be so happy to have you in their ear holes.
I feel like if one of you two was sick, I could fill in. I feel like I'm a little bit Angie, a little bit Evie. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit of both.
You're a little bit of both, and we both actually adore you. You've been filling in for Angie on Confidential with JMO as well. So you're really in the fam of us.
I've actually become Angie. I am Angie, sort of.
Lovely. Well, you've got endometriosis as well.
Yeah,
so you really
my
are.
God, I'm Angie.
You really are,
I'm the brunette bee-stung Angie.
There you go. There you go. See? So she should be very proud. Now, it's so wonderful to have you here, and everyone knows who you are.
Do they, though? Because I don't know about that. Like, I think you do if you watch, if you're on the internet, I think you know who I am.
Yeah.
I think if you watch, I mean, do a bit of TV, but and radio. I did radio for 10 years, but like, I don't know if everyone knows me.
Well, I'd say there's some people who don't know you, but your presence is pretty heavy on socials.
Yeah, I know. I've got an addiction problem. I can't stop.
I think a lot of kids know who you are because you used to be on The Loop on Channel 10.
Oh, yeah.
And you used to be on radio for, I think, about 52 years you were on radio?
Yeah, 52 years. Too long. 10 years I did. 10, and I honestly, that, you know, you've done a bit of brekkie radio. It kills you. It's so brutal.
Yeah, you are a workhorse though. Like every time I look at you on socials, you work. Like you're always writing, you're always creating, you're always acting, you're always doing things. And I watch your stuff and just go, oh God, I wish I could be that creative. Like you're ahead of ideas and you execute them really well.
Oh,
like
thank you.
Socials are so good. It's like, but you started quite early too.
Oh yeah, this is my 10th year on social. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, that's where you keep getting better and better and better.
Do you think? I don't know. I feel like I find social harder than I ever did because it's so much more. There's more creators, and therefore it's harder to, rise to the top. When I used to do Facebook videos back in the day, this is like 2015, 16, 17, I was getting 30 million, 50 million, 250 million on a video, right?
Shit.
So to go from that to like 30,000, I find very difficult.
A little bit of a knock.
Massive knock, yeah. But that's the reality though. Everyone's getting those views now.
Right.
With the rare few that kind of really hit those wild numbers. It's just harder to get visibility. It's harder to be seen. But also I'm getting older and my ability and interest in creating as much as I was is significantly less. You get an adrenaline rush when you create viral content particularly. And then after a while you're like, I don't need maybe the validation anymore.
Yes, well, that's what I was going to ask you. How do you reconcile that, huge hits to what they are now? And is there an aging that's come into it as well? Because, the more obviously, the older you get, the wiser you get, but also the older you get, the more you know something, your experience is vaster. Well, so, what used to get you off as far as creativity goes, and the hunger that young creators have, that would dissipate, wouldn't it?
Massively. And I love seeing younger kids come up and I see them make content every day and I'm like, enjoy. It won't
That's
last.
gonna get-
Burnout is real. Enjoy your depression that's coming. No, I joke, but it's, like it's,
No,
it's
well,
like anything.
It's a joke, but it's not a joke. It's funny, but it's really true.
Yeah, it's f***ing true. And it's also like, first bit of sponsored content I ever did was in 2015. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow,
I was one of the first people to ever do sponsored content in this country, which is
What was it for?
It was for Sony for One Direction. And then
What?
it was One Direction tickets. And then it was...
Did you feel connected to Harry? Like, did you feel there was a...
You know what I did?
know.
It was like the worst thing I've ever done. I took a picture of a $1 bill and put D next to the $1, like the American $1 bill, and put a D next to it, like a defamed currency, and wrote "Can't wait for 1D tickets," as if One Direction tickets weren't going to sell. And I made $20, literally no money, and then I got taxed on top of it. You know what I mean? Like,
who cares?
who was who? How was 1D hard up for getting ticket sales? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
Why did they
True.
need
Well,
sponsored content? I guess they were just
They
f***ing around
needed
with it.
Tanya Hennessy is what they needed, clearly. They
Then-
had no problem selling. They just wanted you.
Maybe they were just fiddling around with it, and for a budget of $20, I was happy to put my hand up and defame a $1 note for it. And then the
Yes.
next thing I did was a special K ad. And then what happened was I actually was making so much money on social that it was eclipsing my radio money in such an intense way, like so intense that I actually am the embodiment of video killed the radio star.
Oh, yeah, right.
But the thing
So what-
is, despite creativity and despite SponCon and everything like that, I still love radio so deeply, and I still
You
love
do.
storytelling on radio and audio in a way that is profound.
Yeah.
Which is really
Yeah.
annoying. But as you say about, burnout and creativity and coming to sort of, those big viewing numbers to what they are now, just to come back to your question, I care about the work as opposed to the numbers.
Yeah, okay,
So
good.
I actually was talking to a client the other day, and they said, "What's your engagement like?" I was like, what's your number of your videos?
Your insights,
I was like, I don't know. I don't look.
Yeah.
And they were like,
You don't look?
no, I don't care because I make it because I want to make it, or I like
Good on
it, or
you.
it's good, or it's interesting.
that's
I
your-
don't care about the numbers.
That's your management's job.
Yeah, well, that's
as
true.
well.
Yeah.
Because creativity and
Yes.
business, two completely different things, aren't they?
Yeah. And I think sometimes people want you to act like a business person when you're a creative, and sometimes those two don't add up. Sometimes
Yeah.
they want you to be vulnerable on the air, but then in a meeting they want you to be sensible and listen and take notes and be a business person. And I'm like, can't have both. You'll get an erratic one or the other, unfortunately.
Now, I want to just ask you, I know how much you love radio because we talk about it all the time. It really is like the love of your life.
I know, it really is. And I thought it would be
And-
theatre. I studied theatre and I love theatre.
Right.
Growing up, I always thought theatre was the love of my life until I did radio. And I
then-
still think about being in Griffith and doing radio, and I just love all the ideas. And how's this for a f***ing dated concept? When I was in radio in Griffith, we did a concept called Pash for Cash, where I would pash my co-host against his will and interest. Like, this is cancelable.
Oh, my God.
For
Consent,
money. If we
no.
raised, the banter on air was that he didn't want to, which was kind of funny. But when you look back on it, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like,
Oh, there's so many things like that we look back on now, but they've in the past and they're still hilarious and no one really got hurt.
no.
did they?
And we didn't really bash. We just kissed on the lips. And we did it. We raised $5,000 or $6,000,
That's
$10,000
amazing.
or something for a charity. That was the idea. We'll pash if we get to this amount of money for charity.
And you just kissed. You didn't even pash. There was no
no.
tongue.
No. But then
I would have wanted my money back.
If you would, I know, that was my concern. And then
Yeah.
I look like a sex
would've.
pest, being like, you will pash me to my co-host. And he was like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want to.
Who was
it?
that
His
guy?
name was Mike. He was actually a bit of a legend. I can't remember his bloody last name, though, because we went on air for very long together.
Clearly memorable.
We went on air for very long. I had 4 co-announcers in the 6 months I was in
Yeah.
Griffith.
Yeah.
Like,
you
it
don't
was-
remember all of them, and who knows where they are today.
Yeah, literally. But, the thing
Literally.
is, sometimes you've got to play against things on radio. And back in the day, this was 2013. It didn't
yeah,
work.
that's
Like, he had to be like, I don't want to kiss her, to kind of get people to go, well, I'm going to donate. So
Yeah,
even though
yeah.
it sounded a bit like cooked. It was pre-thought out and,
And they still do that kind of stuff on radio today. Like, it's all so pre-thought, isn't it? And
you know what?
I was shocked with that, actually, when I did radio, like for the 5 seconds that I did. I was like, oh, this is all so thought out. Like, I thought it was really, you're listening to radio and you really do think that there's just like, oh, I've got something to tell you. And it's like, no, we've done this in a pre-production meeting. And,
I know. And
which
my
is what's
favourite
so
is
different about
the reverse
podcasting.
engineering. Like everyone.
What's that?
It's when you. So, say for Hamish and Andy did the gravy chip. Do you infamously did this gravy chip?
Yeah.
But it sounded on air like they just had this idea, but it's actually reverse engineered. So they go, we're going to have the gravy chip. They have this pre-production meeting.
You go
the
backwards.
Gravy chip gets made, and then they put the on-air stuff out separately to get to the gravy chip, even though it's already been made. Similar, I know B105 at the moment is doing like a brown snake with Allen's. Arguably, that brown snake had already been made, and then you reverse engineer it on the air. So the story arc will go, week 1, we have the idea. Week 2, we try and get Allen's on the phone. Week 3, we try and get listeners to, buy in, or we do this thing on the air, or we get Vox Pops. The next week we do this, and it's all... This is the thing that I miss about radio. I love a story arc.
I see this now. This is great. Our listeners will actually be loving this kind of behind-the-scenes information and stuff, because I find it fascinating. And I'm the average Joe. I've always said, when I was on Gogglebox, the reason I think people enjoy Gogglebox so much is because we're all the average Joe. We are you. We are watching TV and having the same reactions that you have in, the general terms.
I love Gogglebox. I still remember the first time I watched it.
Do you?
Yeah. I had to review it for a show. I was doing a radio show called Scoopla. And Jules Lund.
Scoopla?
Yeah, it's Jules Lund and Emma Friedman were the hosts, and I did a little section on it where I reviewed television when I was in Toowoomba doing radio, and it was my first foray into national, and I can't tell you how anxious I would be to do that record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I watched Gogglebox for the first time, the year it came out, and my review was like, "This show is unbelievable!"
In a good way?
Yes! I was because
everyone just thought it was going to be bad.
Well, just the concept sounded...
The concept is dreadful.
Sounded bad. And then the minute you watch it, you're like, whoa, this is game changer. This is good.
This is why you never, ever poo-poo a concept, because you don't know how it's going to come across. A friend of mine is a TV producer, and, you constantly have to pitch these kind of ideas. And he was pitching the I think for a new job or something, and they were like, well, if you had to pitch a new TV show, what would it be? And he goes, and this may get up because everyone laughed at him.
Yeah.
And I laughed at him, but then I said, no, this is a brilliant idea. And he goes, you wait, you are going to see this one day. You remember Muster Dogs on ABC? It's just a documentary show about these pups from birth to about, I think, 3 years.
Cute.
How they all, I think there were 6 farms that bought the Muster Dogs. They're $25,000 each, dogs, right? So the ABC did a doco series where they followed the birth and the rearing of them and the training. It takes 3 years to make, but they had one. That's it. That was the hook, was that they got, all the farmers were told, you've got 1 year to do this, what you normally have to do in 3. So he was saying, why don't we get Muster Dogs in Australia to do a show where they solve crime? So yeah,
I'm already
right?
in. No,
straight away.
I love it.
But how brilliant. And I said, what, are they solving the crime? And he goes, well, they're a part of it. Remember Turner and Hooch, the movie? Remember, there's another movie.
I love this. I'm investing.
Inspector Rex is a dog.
Money on the table. I'll put money on the table. I love this idea.
Isn't that a great, wonderful idea? Well, look, watch this space. I reckon that's going to get up.
I have this idea for a TV show called Do Over. And it's where people who have had shitty hens nights, or, they couldn't perform at their dance concert, or, whatever reason they couldn't perform, and then they do it over as an adult.
Oh, my God.
I never got to do a Deb Ball. Girl, I want to do a do-over. No, it wasn't a thing.
Oh, I did.
Girl, I want to be in
loved
a
it so
white
much.
gown, weirdly, uncomfortably dancing.
Yes, it was so weirdly and so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
It
I want
was
to be presented to the community.
best awkwardness in the world, and then drunkenness. It was. But you know what the best part of doing a Deb is? You have to meet every week with the group.
Oh.
And learn the dance. So it takes 10 weeks to learn the dance because, basically everyone, the girls are fine, but the guys really can't dance. And you have to go in a circle and do this particular dance. We were given the song by Icehouse,
Yeah, what was it?
Electric Blue, which is
Oh, yeah,
the
that's a good
most
song.
ridiculous song. I hated it then and I hate it now. If I hear it, I have PTSD of it. I start to twitch. I'm like, God, I hate this song.
Is it
so
because
much.
you had to do partner dance?
No, it's just because the song Electric Blue, the song was, I think, about porn. Like, it's not a great song. Anyway, but every week we met on a Monday night in this hallway.
Yes,
like
I want
all
to
of us in a hallway.
I want to be in
It
a
was the best.
hall,
It
like
was
a
the
public
best.
hall where there's maybe Arnott's assorted. Like that's what
Yeah.
I want to do
Yeah.
on a Monday night.
Yeah, that's what it was the best. You know what? You should do this show and you should be the first episode of a do-over.
And then I
that
become the
should be.
host.
And yeah, I think it's a brilliant idea. I'll produce it for you.
Oh my God, please.
I don't know how to do that, but I will give it a red hot go.
So getting a TV show up is one of the hardest things you'll ever do.
Oh, I can imagine.
It's
I
tough.
can imagine. There's a lot in it, isn't there?
Yeah, because the thing is, you're pitching to people. Because I had to go through this process, right? So you pitch to a production company.
Yeah.
So say, for example, someone like I'm trying to think who's
Let's say Endemol.
who did like MasterChef and
Yeah, they did Gogglebox.
Gogglebox.
Yeah.
They're producers. So you go in and first of all, you get a meeting with them, right?
Yeah.
Hard to get a meeting with anyone because everyone's
Yes.
busy. Although
Yes.
if you're in LA, people just meet and you and use your time. Like they
Yeah.
LA's the town of meetings. I can't tell you how many meetings
Right.
I've had in LA. Like
Really?
Funny or Die. I've met with. Who else have I met with in LA? Oh, Comedy Central. I've met with Lorne Michaels' production company. And it
What?
goes nowhere, Erie, because it's the town of meetings.
And it happens to everyone, doesn't
yes,
it?
but you don't know it's the town of
And they
meetings.
tell you you're fantastic, don't they?
Oh, girl, you're
and
a
then-
star. I'm like, I'm still wearing cotton on. Come on. So anyway, so
You
you,
are a
you
star.
pitch to a production company, and whether or not they choose to take it on because they've also got a slate, and they don't want to have.
What I want to know is what happens if you pitch a really great idea like I just did. I stole my friend's Mustard Dog's
Yes.
solving crimes.
And then someone else picks
God
it up,
help
becomes
me
a big
if he finds out that I've just pitched his show to the public. And what stops them from just stealing it?
I believe there's a bunch of first of all, I think they can, but there's IP protection, so it has all
Right.
dates
Yeah.
and times and
Right.
when you send things to people. And,
Yeah.
to be 100% honest, I don't know the litigious shit, but you send
Yeah.
it, maybe they pick it up, and the slate being the other projects that they're working on, say they pick it up, then it's got to go to all these streamers and networks, and then the networks have got to have buy-in and interest in it, and then they have to pitch it to them. And then, you know what I mean? It's
a lot.
But what are the networks looking for? And it's not just what are the networks looking for tomorrow. It is what are the networks looking for in 2 years. And so it's just
you've
gambling.
really got to. Yeah.
And
yeah.
these people are going, you just did Deadlock. That show would have
Yeah.
been pitched in 2019.
7 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And when they release it, it's interesting. Is the relevancy still there? Is the cast still alive?
Yeah.
Depending on when it was
we were just talking
filmed.
about Gold Diggers. Gold Diggers was such an old pitch by, what's that guy's name? Horrocks. Alex Horrocks? I can't remember. Anyway, it was his concept and it was years ago. And there is an actual kind of a pilot that was done with Kate Box and Harriet Dyer so
I love
long
Harriet
ago.
Dyer so much.
Oh, who doesn't? Isn't she amazing? If anyone doesn't know who Harriet Dyer is, watch Column from Accounts. It's one of the best
She wrote
made
that
shows
show.
recently. She's
wrote
brilliant.
that show.
Her and her husband, Patrick Brammall, are just the it couple as far as I'm concerned. They
Oh.
killed it at the BAFTAs. They came
So
out
funny.
and presented an award that was so funny, so good. Because as an Australian, we own our own people. But I was just like, oh my God, please be really funny when they came out, please, please, please. And they did not disappoint. And you could see how chuffed they were with themselves.
I love it too because
And I love
they're a
that.
couple as well. It's like
Yeah.
it must be so wild for them. But the
Because
show,
separately, they're both so talented. Imagine when they met and it just went
the show Colin
Yes.
from Accounts was just so beautifully written.
so good.
And
So good.
I devoured that.
Yeah, me too. I binged it in a day.
Me
It was
too.
so
And,
good.
You know, Tom, my partner, he's watched it twice, and you know he's busy. Like he's a chef, and they work weird hours, and he walks
Yeah.
the dog for 16 hours a day. You know,
Yeah.
he's very like in love with the dog. I worry about that relationship. Actually, it might be
Don't. I
something.
love that.
Wow,
I love that. I get that.
he loves he knows
Yeah,
Harriet.
so he should.
Like we went and filmed some content at Harriet's house in LA a couple of years back, and he knows her, and he is like, oh my god, I'm like, I don't know if I meet her again, like how to speak to her because I've watched the show
Yeah.
twice, and he quotes the show. I'm like, please don't quote it in front of her.
Oh my God, that's adorable.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, don't quote it in front of her. Although
She's the real
actors
deal.
have like they love being told how wonderful they are. So tell
believe it
them.
or not, it doesn't happen enough. Like I think people
No.
think because you work in the media, people like hype you up.
Yeah,
Literally,
yeah.
no. The only voice I
doesn't
have in
happen
my
enough.
head is my voice going, you're not great. Like, do you know what I mean? So if you see me, can you please pump me up? Because the only voice I have in my head is my negative self-criticism voice at all
Well,
times.
you know what? That's funny. I was going to actually ask you. You know, you are a funny woman,
Sometimes.
and you're known as a funny woman, but in real life, you're not. You know, you just said that you have this negative voice in your head. Like the funniness obviously comes out of you, but who are you in real life? Like what are you like as a person?
That is like the nicest question. I feel like I'm going to cry.
Oh, you can cry.
We
Please,
encourage
we'll
it.
use
It's
that
great
as
for
the,
views.
as a bit. Yeah.
We use this as the video. Yeah, it'll make the promo if you cry. So can you? We'll put it at the top of the
Can
episode.
you please cry?
I feel like I'm back on I'm a Celebrity. Actually, I'm a very critical, perfectionistic, workaholic,
Yeah.
very anxious, very mentally unhinged person.
And where does that come from?
You know, I think it's that I'm gifted with creativity, but I'm also like poisoned by creativity. It's like never ending. I'm exhausted by my mind and it
Right.
won't turn off.
Yep.
And so I'm constantly trying to I want to get the ideas out. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I feel like I don't have enough hours in the day. My head just, the minute an idea is expelled, I get 50 others. And these are excellent. This is an excellent problem to have. I know this. Unfortunately, these ideas come at every hour, every day. Christmas Day, if I'm talking to someone, I'm thinking about another
Yeah.
idea. Like it's just
Yeah.
endless, and it's wonderful, but it's killing me.
Yeah, it's a lot, Tan. It's a lot. Like that if you haven't harnessed it,
Yeah, not yet.
that's like, do you have ADHD?
I don't, which I thought I did.
Because that sounds like it. I mean, I'm not a medical professional, but I know my friend who has ADHD, and she has so many amazing ideas, and she has to go on her meds to harness it.
Yes.
Otherwise, she can't harness it. And it's
Yeah.
just, she can't sleep. She's like she's hyper focused. She's, this and that. She can't, listen to you because she's thinking so much. So, and maybe there is a level of something that can, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I probably am. I mean,
But it would, because it is it's a curse and a gift at the same time.
Yeah.
If
Oh.
you're not harnessing your, downloading, like you're constantly downloading, but it's not going into the files where it's supposed to go, and, using it when you're supposed to use it. And then you have a critical voice as well,
Yes.
saying, is it good enough?
the critical voice, I think people are afraid to have a critical voice. I think a lot of people, especially Gen Z, do not like a critical voice. That's a very wide overstatement.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Do you mean like an inner critical voice?
I think
or
it's good to have
at all.
Both. I think it's good to have a critical voice when you are a creative, particularly. Being critical
right,
of
yep.
the work that you make, but also being critical of the work that you see, and to be like, what do I like about this? What do I not like about this? How could I improve this? What would be my take on this? How could I make this better? What, you know what I mean? As opposed to just
Yeah.
going, I don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not enough to say you
are
don't
you
like
Gen
it.
Z?
Why? I'm Gen Y.
Why? Okay, so you're just a bit older than a Gen Z. But do you have people around you that you can be critical and you listen and respect? Do you have those?
Oh, yeah. I don't feel like I feel like everyone is I'm open to critique as well. I
Great.
like to be.
Yeah, me too.
Also, I come from a radio school. You know, you finish
Yeah,
radio.
that's it. And in radio, you have a post-production meeting
Yes.
and you have a break. What do they call that? Because I loved that when I
an
was
air
on
check?
radio. Yes. I loved it because afterwards I got to be told what was great and what was bad and
Yes.
what I could improve.
Yes.
And I was like, am I getting this for free? Like, and I'm being paid
Same.
for you
I
to tell me how to
love-
be better at my job.
I love it too. And when
Yeah.
when I was in Canberra, I did radio in Canberra, breakfast radio for 2 years in Canberra, and we would come off, and sometimes in air checks it's just the the content director telling you, but sometimes they play the breaks back to you, and a break is just like when you speak as opposed to the music.
Yes.
And then they'll play it back, and they'll stop it and go, here's what you could have done here. Or, you know,
Yes.
and that is hard. And I used to do, in Canberra, we used to have 2-hour listen back air checks every day. So
That's a
then
lot.
when I moved from Canberra to a national show, which was just weekends, I had no feedback, and it f***ed my head because I was so used to getting so much feedback. I couldn't work without it, and it
You
took me
couldn't
a really
self-regulate
long time.
yourself.
Yes, it
Yeah,
took a really long
yeah.
time to get out of the that
Wow.
system of feedback.
Yeah. But you would have had to and then become good at that as well. So, yeah, but air checks, they're a great thing. I think a lot of jobs could use air checks.
Oh my God, I
Where,
know.
you know, with really great mentor and kind of content director or your executive, like EP or whoever it is telling you, this works, this doesn't work, you know, and you have to trust them and know that they've got your best interest and the show's best interest.
Oh,
But it could
yeah.
work in so many industries, couldn't it? You know, but a
For
lot of people, going
sure.
back to what you were saying, a lot of people can't take the criticism.
Yeah, it's
And
strange. It drives me nuts.
it's a shame. It is a shame.
I have
Because
so
it-
many people DMing me being like, I want to be where you are. I'm like, well, here's some thoughts. And they're like, F that. and that's not being critical so much as just like not wanting to sort of do the work. But
yeah.
God, I sound like
Well,
that
can
Kim
I ask
Kardashian
you,
quote. Get up and work.
yeah,
And
get
also
up
be a
Hey,
billionaire.
Kim Kardashian. Can I ask you who do you look up to? Like, who do you go, that's who I want to be?
Well, in Australia, Chrissy Swan,
Yep.
I just think she leads with warmth and kindness, and she still is in herself, if that makes sense.
Yes.
She's not sort of in the industry and sort of lost her soul. She's very soulful, and she's grounded, and she's humble, and she loves to create.
Yes.
But also I'm a big fan of Matt O'Kine. I think that he's
Okay.
someone I look to because there's not many people who kind of do what Matt and I do. And I obviously don't do it on the same level as him, but we both did breakfast radio. We both write books for children and for adults. He does social. I do social. He writes television. I'm now moving into the space of writing television. But his balance is probably slightly better than mine. Internationally, you know, I really like Tina Fey
Yeah.
and Amy Poehler. I think they're like unbelievable, and I would love to have a legacy like that. I like David
yeah.
Walliams. I think he's a really great writer for
that's
kids.
an interesting one. Yeah, he's a very good writer for kids.
Like inconceivably good. Aunt Doe is an amazing writer for kids. That's part of the reason I wrote Stevie, was that I couldn't see any female writers in the space, which is why I wanted to add my voice to the space.
Great. No, tell the listeners, Stevie. If
Oh,
they've got
Stevie is a
kids,
kids
they can
book
go
I
and-
wrote. Yeah, I wrote
How
two
old?
of them.
How old children?
7 to 12. And it's a book
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of inspired by Moana. I watched the movie. Oh. And she doesn't have a love interest. And I was like, oh my God, she's just this fierce kid who wants
Yeah.
their own destiny, and she's looking for her destiny, and she's trying to figure out who she is and what she wants, but there's no boyfriend, there's no girlfriend, there's no whatever. She's just got her own ambition at the forefront, and I couldn't see that on the shelves, so I wrote it.
On you.
And I wrote
that's
it with
so
just, like,
good.
heaps
That's
of
really
women in it.
inspiring for
Yeah.
young kids of that age. There's I can't remember what it was called, but it was like South American Disney movie or Pixar. It was Disney.
Was it
I don't know.
Coco?
Anyway, no. I
loved Coco.
It was after that, and it was quite recent. And I
Encanto.
loved- that's it. I went and watched that, and I loved that it was about empowerment of this kid.
We
rather
don't talk
than-
about Bruno.
so good. It's just so good.
I tell you,
And it
that's
had-
another inspiration. Lin-Manuel Miranda, like, are
Yeah.
you kidding? I mean,
I
whoa,
get that.
king.
I get that.
King. Also, I'm a big fan of. I'm going through a Margot Robbie fan.
Me too.
She
Me
produces
too.
as well. You know what I mean?
She's a very good producer.
girl. That woman can act.
Okay, well, this is great because I actually wanted to ask you. You went and watched the Barbie movie, and I didn't get an invite. Thanks, Warner Brothers.
Oh, I know, girl. I had to like get a leg out, get a boob out for a ticket. Like, honestly,
Well, if only I'd known.
yeah.
I got 2 boobs. Could have done that.
I got two.
2
I got
boobs,
one at the
2
moment.
legs. Could have got them all out. It could have been like a starfish.
Honestly.
Now, can you please tell me about the Barbie movie and what you thought of it and what you
Well, it's out
thought
today,
was
isn't
gonna-
it?
First,
It's out
yeah,
today.
it is out today. Because it's
It's the most hyped movie of ever.
yes, it really is, and it's the best marketing I've seen
Ever.
as far as like and the junkets goes and all the interviews and upcoming and trailers and everything. I love, like they've released that Ken song and I just think it's brilliant. But what did you think it was going to be and what was it?
You know what? I think they did a really good job of concealing what the narrative was. So I thought, I mean, from the trailers, you're like, okay, so she obviously leaves Barbie Land to the real world and that's about it. But then
Yeah.
watching it, it is like, like the script is dense. Like, oof, I can't
Good.
imagine how
Good.
many edits and rewrites and how many writers wrote on that or supported writing it. It's a complex storyline. I think kids
Good.
will enjoy it, but adults will love it. It's
Great.
very feminist. Like there's a
Great.
big discussion about the patriarchy. Like and they say patriarchy. Like
Yep.
it's
They do?
over
Great.
and over again. The word patriarchy
Great.
is like overused.
It's just so
arguably.
wonderful.
Yeah, it's. I would argue that Margot Robbie's performance holds it together because she is unbelievably diverse at playing a doll and then, spoiler alert, human. She goes
Okay.
into the human world, and
Yeah.
the way that she goes between 2D and 3D on camera in the 2 hours of this film is like the acting is out of control.
Oh, I can't wait for that then. Because I love that kind of thing.
Girl,
like it's
that
just,
bitch can act.
Yeah, she can. She's such a talent. And she's ours.
I know. She's from
As
Dolby.
you know, I love to own people. She's one of ours people. We love her. But Greta Gerwig, incredible.
I don't know much about her, Evie. Like, what's her deal?
Okay, so the 2 movies that she did that have really been quite successful is Lady Bird. Do you remember that one with Saoirse Ronan? I always have to say her name like I'm in Ireland. Saoirse Ronan, which is one of the best movies I've ever seen in my life, ever.
Oh my God, I've never seen it.
It's the best. Go and watch it. Promise me
Yes,
you'll watch it.
I will.
This
What's
weekend.
it on? Netflix?
Who knows?
Well, who knows?
Do you know, isn't it funny how we ask that all the time now? I always say to people, what's that on? And they're like, I don't know. I don't know. One of the 25 streaming services.
Yeah, like
that
I
we
think I
all
pay
down-
$100 a month in f***ing streaming. Bring back the DVD.
We do.
I'm not even kidding.
We do.
Bring back the DVD. At least they were
Bring-
$24, you know?
Well, that's true. Do you remember?
I think I have
remember
bought the same film over and over again.
Yeah.
I bought it
Oh,
on
we all did.
VHS, I bought it on DVD, and now I'm buying it on streaming. These people are geniuses. Let's write
They
a f***ing film.
I think that we need to, go into streaming services. I mean, which would be really easy to do. Let's just start our own streaming service.
It'd be really easy to do.
Why not? Lady Bird, Greta Gerwig, and Little Women, the remake of a remake of a remake of a remake. My God, that movie is so old. Like, it's just the tale as old as time. But
Have you seen the
book.
musical? The musical of Little Women is unbelievable.
What now?
It sounds terrible.
No, it doesn't.
I'm obsessed.
You don't know
with
how
it.
much I love musicals.
Yeah, well, I
Who's
dressed
in
on it.
Where is it? What?
I worked on it. It came to Australia. It was at the Seymour Centre in 2009. I was the stage manager, and the music is unbelievable. It had
who
Joe
wrote
March.
Who wrote the music? Do you remember?
Don't know.
Yeah,
The chick who played Joe March is what's her face? She's like she's really famous. She was in Anything Goes. She's in Younger.
Oh, Chloe Dallimore?
No, she's American.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
She was in Younger. Hilary Duff.
Oh my God, I love Hilary Duff so much.
Katherine Heigl. Catherine Hahn.
Sutton Foster.
Sutton Foster, never heard of her.
Okay, she played the original Jo March on Broadway, and she's like Tony Award winning. And
What?
if you get the chance, there's this beautiful song from this musical called Astonishing that Jo March sings at the end of the first half, and I wrote a whole cabaret based on that song.
Did you?
Yeah, I wrote a whole
Because
cabaret.
that's how your brain works. Oh my God.
This
I
was
would
back in
just
the day,
play
though.
the song on repeat. You actually write a Broadway musical.
No. I
from
wrote a
hearing the song.
cabaret. It was
a cabaret.
It was called Encyclopedia Britannica, an evening of mixed meat and song.
I need to see. Will you do that cabaret for me one day?
Yeah, it was called a kebabaret, a night of mixed meat and song, because I thought it'd be really funny to like sing and also have a kebab.
Oh my God, that's brilliant. Oh my God, can I please do this show?
Yes.
I'm looking to do a one-woman show. That
You just
is
steal my whole
right
life
up
story.
my meat alley.
You're like, hi, I'm Evie Jones and not Tanya, and I definitely am not telling her entire life story via song.
Oh, but I can have a kebabalab and kebabaras, abracadabra, and
I just thought it would be really funny, just because cabaret is
it
a
sounds
very
brilliant.
I used to enter this cabaret competition every year. It's like, you do 2 songs and do the banter in between. And I was like, how can I f this up? So I thought, wouldn't it be funny just to do it with tzatziki? And so I
just to say tzatziki all the time
my
through
God.
a cabaret is brilliant.
and just to have lamb at all times.
Oh, all the time. I don't eat it, but I would love to. Like, oh my God.
I should come back to this one woman show. The other idea I had was of one woman show. I wanted to do another stand-up show called Dissecting Disney. And it's just me going through all the Disney narratives that I find preposterous.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that idea. Do it.
I should do
it. Yeah, do it.
Touring is so
And if you ever want to
hard,
write
though,
a
Evie.
2-woman show, let me know.
I'll appear in it. I will not
I'll appear
write
in
it.
it. You write it. You write it. I'm putting it straight out there. I can't write. I don't write. I can talk. So, if you want to transpose, go for it. But
I think you'd write a good book.
do you?
Yes.
What, like a novel?
I think it'd be a nice autobiography, yes.
Yeah, it would be a lot about kebabs.
And just a chapter for each of your dogs.
Oh my God, yes, that would be the best one.
Actually, that would be a nice way to frame it, though. You could frame it through, like, the lens of being a dog mum.
Oh my God, I love that.
Girl, I've got
love
ideas
that.
for days. Unfortunately.
Have you ever read the book, The Art of Racing in the Rain?
Oh, no, it sounds good, though.
It's written by a dog. It's from the dog's point of view in a family.
I love it already.
Yeah, it broke me. They made a movie out of it. Haven't watched the movie because I don't want to ruin the book. But I just remember the one part I remember that really got me was how he said, the difference between you and me is I don't have thumbs and my tongue is too long to talk, like to make it. So all I have is gestures. And after that book, I'm crying. I'm tearing up now just thinking about it.
Good, it'll make the promo.
While reading that book, I looked at my dog differently. Dogs became a different thing to me. And my friend who read it used to have a dog that she treated like a dog.
Yeah.
So he wasn't an outside dog, but get out, out.
Yeah.
And she rang me and she said, I can't look at Noodle the same. She goes, all I have is gestures. I went, oh my God. It's just the best. It's such a beautiful book.
That's such a clever idea. I love concept. Concept for me is everything. Like the concept that this book is written from the dog's lens to me is just like genius. I love people. I had this idea of writing a book about, imagine if this is a concept book, right? Imagine if time was a teenager. Like the concept of time was run by a teenager, but she's moody, she's tired, sometimes she doesn't get up, and then the time that she, her feelings dictate the time, and therefore the world is out of alignment because sometimes she doesn't wake up until midday, and so she's got to learn to work time so that the rest of the world can exist. Anyway,
that's really good.
Concept.
Really good.
It's very baseline. Also, I really feel like you should write this book, and maybe you could write it, like steal some concepts of that. Steal like an artist.
I'm stealing your concepts.
This is what I'm saying about having just this foggy brain of concept, which is
Yeah.
good and bad. But I really have this idea at the minute that I could write a feature film. I was talking
Yeah,
to
I
you
do
about this
too.
yesterday. I was like, I could write a feature film.
I believe you could write a feature film in your sleep.
The thing is, I've got to learn the
Yeah, and I love that you're doing that. You know, it's so wonderful that you know what your weaknesses are.
Oh, yeah.
And what you need to work on. Like, because when you told me that you were learning to write, you were doing courses, I'm like, because that's what people need to do. Like, there's so many. I don't write because I'm not a writer. And I think there are amazing writers out there. And some of them are still working to become better, but you know, it's funny, like I've always had this thing where it's like, if you're not a great singer, don't be a singer. Like, if you write amazing songs and get an amazing singer to sing them and have number one hits. Like, you know, Max Martin, who wrote all of those songs for he didn't write them for Anne Juliet, but they're all in Anne Juliet. And his back catalogue is so incredibly vast, but he's never ever tried to sing. He's just this amazing songwriter who gets, you know, Christina Aguilera to sing his songs and Britney and NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. And just, he's like, I'll just write songs. I'm big on that because of the amount of people that are told by their parents, yes,
you can do anything.
We watch Australian Idol and American Idol and, you know, we watch these shows and people come out and they're like, and Simon's like, I'm sorry that you are awful. You are actually awful.
Can I tell you, though, do you reckon you can not tell the generational difference between you and I, though? Because you're X, right? You're a Gen X. And Rachel's producer is Gen Z. So between us, we have 3 generations in this room.
Yeah.
It'd be very interesting to talk about one topic. P.S. That's another idea I'm having. But let's talk about, you know, hitting kids and just get 3 people's opinion on it from a different generation. Thank you very much. I will be taking some sort of commission on that concept.
I think, no, let's not steal it. Let's make it happen. I think that would be a great podcast.
Girl, a hundo. But here's the thing, right? Because you're Gen X, you're like, I'm going to stay in my lane. Because I'm Gen Y, I'm like, I won't stay in my lane. Yeah, I say get a boomer in here. And then we'll see what they
get a boomer in here as well.
Because then it'll go down the generations and you'll
Yeah.
see what the learnings have been and pushed into the next generation.
Yes, this is a brilliant concept. I love this, and all different topics of what do you think, and because you've got wisdom that comes with an experience that comes with the answers as well.
Girl, 100%. But here's the thing.
And
I think that you're limiting your idea of what you can do based on your generation. Like, you're like, I can only do this. And I'm like, no, but I disagree with that. You're like, I'm not a writer, but I believe other people are good writers. It's like, I think that's a generational thing as opposed to a personal belief, because you could do that and you should do that. And I'm going to be the voice in your ear that says, I would love to see writing out of you.
I just got psychoanalyzed by Tanya Hennessy.
I just don't believe in the word no. But also, I believe in boundaries. If you go, hey, I don't want to, that's also fine. I don't want to write a book, do not write a book.
Yeah. No, I'd love to write a book.
I would love to read a book from you.
Okay. Well, I might write a little haiku.
No, I
It's
don't
all
want to.
get out
No
of
one
me.
wants a haiku.
Barbie movie. Okay. I just want to say, out of 10, what would you give Barbie movie?
Oof. I'll go see it again, and I don't see movies multiple times.
That. Well, you don't even have to give it a number, because that is pretty good little review right there. I would go and see it again.
Are you seeing it tonight? Are you like going gangbusters, or are you just like, I'll see what's on streamer?
Yeah, I'll see it when it's on streamer with my dogs.
Oh, yeah. Good on you. Don't leave that house.
No. I mean, I might. Sometimes I like to take myself off in the middle of the day to see a movie when there's no one in the cinema, and you get your popcorn and you get your Maltesers and you just pour your Maltesers into the popcorn and let them melt a little bit. You have a full sugar Coke or a Sprite, and you just sit there and you just have this experience that's brilliant. I might do that. I might do that.
Oh my God. I saw The Fault in Our
salty.
Stars on 10 o'clock, no one in the cinema in Toowoomba.
Yeah, I love that.
And just wept alone.
Yeah, I love that. I used to do that when I was a teenager. I used to take myself off and just, during school holidays, because my parents both worked. So I'd go to work with my mum and go to the cinema in the middle of the day in Gosford. Man
my-
Street.
Oh my God, Man Street Gosford.
Village Cinemas.
Oh
It
my
was
God,
brilliant.
I love that area. I love Gosford. I love the Central Coast.
Gosford is a fucking hellhole.
Okay.
And
Brought to you by Destination New South Wales.
Tourism Australia. Tanya Hennessy.
Yeah.
I feel this finger in my face. No, I'm just joking. No one can see what I can see, but it's our producer telling us to wrap it up because we could talk for hours. And
Yeah, she's
I
like
love
rolling her eyes at us.
I love that she.
Rachel has produced me since she was 19 and she's 27. This bitch is over me.
She is, and so she should be,
Yeah.
But you know what?
See, this is why I don't have an ego.
You can't. There's no
I can't
way you're
have
ever
an
gonna
ego.
get one.
Yeah.
You can't.
No.
It's wonderful. Can I say thank you so much for
Oh
coming?
my God. Thank you. I'm like stoked that I even got to come on.
Oh, good. Well, you should be f***ing stoked because you know what? It's a very, very big list of amazing people, and you clawed your. No, I'm just
How dare
joking.
you?
I'm so glad you were on. Really, you and Ash. We had
I
Ash
love
last
Ash
week,
London.
and
I
I
love
love
Ash.
you both. You both used to be on the Loop, and was she on the Loop?
Yep.
Yeah.
I
So-
love Ash. Ash is someone like that.
She
I've
loves
all-
you.
Yeah. We're like a little like, we used to work in radio together.
You're just
and
good people. You're good people.
Real.
Yeah,
same
real.
with you. Just not bullshit. There's no ego. There's no nonsense. It's just they're actually
That's-
hard to come by in this industry.
Well, that's it. And we gravitate towards these kind of people. And it's good because I think, especially the Two Girls, One Pod, the people that listen to us, they're such great people. And I know that they will be getting so much from you and, behind the scenes and that kind of stuff. And that's what's great about our show, this podcast, is that, you get the realness of people. And
I don't reckon
I just
I've been
thank you
this
for being so real
on a
for me.
podcast ever, maybe.
Well, thank you so much.
Rachel's like agreeing with me because I host another podcast on Nova called Hennessy's
Yeah.
Hotline, and
Oh, it's very different.
Very different, but also I just I'm very protective of my brand,
Yeah.
and as a result, it means that I don't talk about the ins and outs of the industry. But now
Yeah.
I'm just sort of getting a little bit older, and I feel like I don't want to do that anymore. And I kind of want people to see the ins and outs, and I want people to see the f***ing bullshit. And I want
Yes.
Also, I feel very comfortable with you, so maybe it's a little bit you.
No, I think it's a bit of both. A bit of both. But I'm really glad that you opened up and you showed us your vulnerable self, and only a tiny snippet of it as well. There's just so much more. Love to have you back sometime.
Oh my God, yes. And let's do our other podcast called Three Generations.
Yes. Generational trauma, we'll call it.
Because it's a fucking good name, Evie!
Okay, well, that's us for another episode. I will be in your ear holes next week with another amazing guest. Please rate and review us. Subscribe if you haven't. We love the reviews, but only the good ones. And
I say that on my podcast too. I'm like, if you give me a
Imagine if there was a
3-star, I'll skin you.
Yeah. Oh, find out where you live. I just spat everywhere. That's us out. Let's say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Good girl. Bye, everyone. Talk
Generational
soon.
trauma
Love you all.
coming to Nova Podcast soon.